Yeah.
So let's get started. Let's get started because I'll be leaving, headed to New York here in probably about a few hours, and so we have a magazine issue that released today, which that's so hectic. I'm having
Wow.
my book goes on sale Friday, which is tomorrow. That's hectic. And then I'm gonna be on the road tonight and in the morning. So
Sure,
it
that's
gets busy.
incredible, right?
Yes. Okay, so let's get started. So tell me a little bit about, who you are and what you do, and then we can go from there.
Okay, so I'm Vangile and I live in South Africa, although my niece told me just on, when did I see her? Wednesday, Tuesday. She was all like, oh, Aunt Van, you don't really live anywhere. So I guess I'm kind of a traveler, according to my family. And what I really do is I look at the link between emotions and financial behavior. I have a history, I had, should I say, because I haven't felt depressed in years and years now. But since my teens, I struggled with depression. I would just feel sad for no apparent reason, and I would cry. And I remember just saying to my therapist, I want to be happy 28 days in a month instead of being sad 28 days and happy 2 days. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I say it now. It's because of that history that I started doing the work that I do. So I started researching emotions and trying to understand why I felt the way I did. So that became my major blessing. And luckily, I was also going through financial issues. I know, luckily, right? So I started to research the link between emotions and financial behavior. And turns out there is actually a link, and that's what I do now for a living. I teach about how different emotions impact your financial behavior, and I speak on it, and I research investor behavior, saving, spending, and look at all the various emotions that impact us. So teach people how to stop using money as a tool to become happy, but to become happy, and then our finances will change. So it's not that we first have to go looking for the material possessions for us to find our joy, but to look within, question our thinking, learn to love ourselves as is, and really our finances will change from there.
Wow, that's so powerful and that's so true. I really do believe that because a lot of people think that it's all about, working hard and what you can do externally, but when you just
Yeah.
realize that it's an inner thing, it's that inner abundance you have to feel, and then that changes everything. So that is so awesome. The fact that you have made a career and a living off of this is beautiful.
I know it's weird because I remember when I was writing the book, I wrote the first 10 chapters, right? Then I sent it out to friends and I was like, well, this is something I'm working on. Let's just hear what people say. And then people were like, okay, where are the other chapters? So, and I remember my sister calling me, and she was at rock festival because her fiance is part of the Blackjacks, which is one of the only all black rock bands. And she was at this
Wow.
festival, and she's like, she calls me and she goes, "Do you know what I'm doing right now? I'm like in a little group with people and reading them your book, and you must understand." And she's like, "Listen to how noisy this is," and we're all just riveted and trying to figure out what you're talking about, and we can relate to this. So that's how I
Wow.
actually finished the book and decided to go for a publisher. But I'd always thought I would self-publish and all that, but the people around me just felt that they connected so much with it. So I feel very blessed to have had that support.
Wow, that's super awesome. And that's such an amazing story. So let's talk about some of the things that you talk about in your book. What are some of the things, like what blocks us from money financially, what's up with that?
Okay. So the first thing that blocks us from money financially is there are many various emotions that we that we have, and then we use money as a way to feel better. So I'll use one emotion, for example, anxiety. The best way to explain this is, let's say I receive a credit card bill. There are two ways that I can receive this credit card bill. So I have debts, the debts are not disappearing. So you receive the credit card bill, and one scenario, you feel really anxious. That anxiety, you react to it. And instead of sitting down and being calm and sitting with the anxiety and then releasing it and trying to get yourself to a place of calm by questioning your thoughts, you feel that anxiety and you react to it, and off you go. You call some friends because you want to escape from the emotion. We engage in behaviors that make us, when we react to emotions, we either engage in behaviors that actually take us away from our negative emotional state or take us towards positive emotional states. So when we're running away from the negative emotional states, most times it's more like, let me go out to dinner with some friends, let me go get a drink, let me go get a movie, let me go just party it up, let me go get some retail therapy. That's what we often do as women, right? But now you've got this credit card bill, and often in the world that we live in, whatever reactionary behaviors we're going to engage in, those are going to cost money. So you go off, you go have a drink with a friend, you have dinner, suddenly you're putting more credit on your credit card, so you feel even worse. You keep getting anxious, the anxiety escalates, you need more escapism, so you go on to the next thing, it keeps escalating, and before you know it, you're in this vicious cycle where you're trying to run away from the things that you don't want to face by spending money, and you're getting more and more in debt. So that actually creates a situation where you're actually more in debt because of your negative emotional state. Now, imagine you receive the credit card bill. You do feel anxious, and this happened to me. So I went from a state of, okay, always reacting to the state of, okay, I received the credit card bill. What I've learned from all the various coachings and meditation and yoga was to sit with that anxiety. So I realized that if we can just sit with anxiety, it will pass, because every emotion arises and passes away, as meditation teaches. So it's not a state that's going to be with us forever and ever, even though it feels like it's forever. You'll get to a point where you do get some kind of clear window. And if you can take action within that calm period and start asking really questions that lead to a positive outcome, because every question we ask ourselves actually leads to a positive outcome. It can actually lead us to a negative or positive action. So if I start questioning myself and saying, how can I get to the point where I lessen the state, then I'll get certain answers and I can start taking action, but only when I'm calm or feeling grateful. When I take action from a place of anxiety, I'm obviously going to be tempted to run from the anxiety and to take action that leads me more into debt as opposed to cuts down the debt. So I hope that explains your question.
Yes, it really did, and it had me thinking about, I remember it would be moments where when I would get money, my thing was I would get money and then I would feel like it wasn't enough money, and then I would feel anxious, and then my money would be gone because it's like I have to spend it on this and spend it on that, and it's like, why can't I just hold on to it? And then, just off of what you were saying, I'm like, wow, that was just a feeling. Every time I had it, it was just like that negative feeling. And it's really deep on how that really affects, how much money you receive. Because people don't look at it like that. They think it's all about what you do, for your job or how hard you work, but it's all about how you're feeling. So that's super, super powerful. So what are some of the tips and solutions that you give in your book that can help people?
Well, the first tip is to start nurturing positive emotions. So nurture gratitude, nurture self-compassion. one of the biggest things that I've learned is that when you're feeling, there's nothing wrong with feeling so-called negative emotion, because I also call it negative emotion. We're human. We're meant to feel that. That alerts us that there's something wrong within our system, that we're not happy with the way things are going. So these are awesome things. So when I'm now in a state of anxiety, I've learned to sit with it and to ask myself, where is this coming from? Because just asking that question will help you find the answers. So self-compassion by asking yourself the right question and really questioning those thoughts that are causing the emotions. So my first thing that I tell people is to become extremely present. Understand how you start to connect with your body. The body is like this amazing roadmap, right? I've learned that we store various emotions in various parts of our body. And if we can just become aware, because there's times when I'm so busy, but then I can just check in and be like, oh my God, there's a little thing here happening in my stomach. There's a little flutter. That means that I'm not okay with this business decision that I'm about to make. So I can actually ask for more time until I figure out if I'm really okay with it or if it's in line with my value system. So understanding the emotions that you're feeling in your body, sitting with those emotions. And then I say to people, don't be scared to question the emotions. What I've learned is that the mind is the most beautiful thing ever. So I've learned that if I can just sit with an emotion and figure out where it sits in my body, I don't even need to know what that emotion is, but I can just feel that sensation. I can just sit and ask myself out loud or silently, what is the emotion that's causing this sensation? And once I know that, I can ask, what is causing this shame? What is causing this excitement? What is causing this anxiety? And then from there, get the thought and then start questioning the thought. My favorite questioning technique is the work of Byron Katie. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she is amazing. I call her the living Buddha because I think for me her work was amazing. It was I can't even explain it. So many people think that she's so enlightened, and I'm just one of them. She has a really simple technique where if you know the negative thought, you ask 4 questions. You ask, is it true? Can you know that it's true? How do I react when I think this thought? And who would I be without this thought? And then you turn the thought around. Amazing. It's really brilliant. But there are other things that you can ask yourself, like, where does this thought come from? And just wait for the answer. Often the mind will give you images, or you'll just hear and just sit with whatever's coming up, and it will resolve itself and pass through your system. And from there, you can start to take action. And I mean, this may seem, for me, it was something that I had to do on a daily basis at first, but now it's almost automatic because I've taught myself often, well, I do it as often as I can, which is to check in with the body by remaining present and then try to figure out what emotions am I feeling physically. And it has changed my financial game plan in an amazing way.
Wow. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Wow. That is so awesome because what you're saying is so true. I remember I had an experience where it was a few years ago. I was working on trying to manifest the lottery. I don't know if you heard of, I can't remember her name. It was this lady here in America. She manifested a Powerball lottery win, using law of attraction. And so I started trying to practice. Yeah, I can't remember her name. It's just like, I'm going to remember her name when this is over, and then I'm going to be like, oh, gosh, I couldn't remember it because it's so simple. But she manifested the lottery, and, I was working on this for like about 2 years, and one day I just prayed, and I said, what am I not getting? Like, what am I not getting? I don't get it. And all of a sudden, I had this big feeling of gratefulness. It was like God was just telling me, like, you have to feel grateful. That's how you get it. And it was like I couldn't do anything but cry because of how grateful I felt. And I said, wow, in order to receive this much abundance in the terms of monetary gain, you have to feel like that. And so that was just a turning point. You know, I didn't focus on the lottery after that. I just focused on staying grateful. Just stay in a place of gratefulness. And that's a great emotion to feel. So what you're saying is so true, and I love it. I love it. I love it.
Wow, honestly, Aziza, like every time I sit down in my life and I think, oh, I'm taking so long to get whatever it is that I want, what did I do differently to receive last time to make things move faster? And every time the answer is always gratitude. I was doing my gratitude list. I was giving without expecting anything. I was just living with faith and just feeling grateful for everything. So I agree with you.
Yes, that is so, so true. That is so true. So it seems like in your book, and see, now I have to order your book. I haven't ordered it yet. I've just been following you online. And so I'm definitely about to order this book because I always have book collections and I do book reviews. And so this is going on my #1 list. It seems like you have like a spiritual foundation with the book as well, because you're talking about some law of attraction terms and being grateful and all that kind of stuff. So can we find some of that information in the book as well?
Yes, totally. In the book, I explained that for me, meditation was the turning point in my life. In my teens, I've done years and years of therapy. I've done about 4 years of therapy as a high school student. Like every 2 days, I was seeing a therapist, and that helped when I got to varsity. But when I got to varsity, it was cool. But then after I left varsity, my issues came back. I realized that actually it was almost like there was nothing that got erased. All the same things were just hiding undercover. And what had changed was the circumstances made me happy, but the underlying me had not changed. So I went on this higher quest where I became vegan. I was vegetarian before, so I was like, okay, let me go vegan, let me understand meditation, let me read up on all these spiritual books. So for me, meditation and yoga totally changed my life. And in the book, I mention them often as the fastest way to get to gratitude, to get to all these positive emotions of self-compassion and self-love. For me, there's nothing that I can think of that meditation cannot cure. And I just love how it moves us to the next emotional state.
Yes, that's so true. I love meditation, yoga, and like when I get stressed out, because my life is super busy. I'm a mother of 5, I'm a magazine. I'm in school for digital cinematography because I'm working to be a film producer. And so I can get really stressed because I have so much on my plate. So meditation and yoga can just de-stress everything and melt it away. It's a powerful tool. So that is super awesome. So you mentioned, you tried vegan. Did you experience a difference in your point of attraction based upon what you ate?
That's a very interesting question. Let me just think about that. What I did notice, because I was joking with my cousin about it, because she says that I'm just a magnet for animals. So I just laughed, and I told her this 2 days ago. Because she's like, everywhere you go, cats and dogs just come up to me and cuddle, and like people's weird pets on the beach and everything. She's like, what are you doing? And she's not a pet person, so this is not like she's complimenting me. She's like, whatever you're doing, stop. So I just joked and I said, this started when I became vegan, and all I could say to her was, I guess the animals can sense I'm never going to eat them. So I think that's the one thing I noticed. But also, on a really crazy level, I got so much energy, which is so counterintuitive, right? Because if you're vegan, you're supposed to lack energy because you don't have enough minerals. But I've been vegan for 5 years now, and the total opposite has happened for the last 5 years. I am extremely energetic. I have lots and lots of energy, and I don't sleep as much. In fact, I always say to people when they say, oh, they're feeling drained or run down, I'm just like, go vegan, which may or may not be the solution. So for me, I feel that that high energy means that I'm not carrying a lot of, I guess, negative baggage. So somehow the veganism has helped elevate my energy levels, which I think really contributes to productivity and in a way, and then directly contributes to finances.
Yes, I really do believe that. Because I told you my book is coming out, and I did speak on just how much a healthy diet will help keep your vibration much higher, and you get a higher energy, you feel happier. And then not so just much the vegan foods, like staying away from processed sugars and, white flours, and, making sure your body is free from toxins. And all of that affects, how you feel, how you vibrate, and everything. So that is
Yeah,
so awesome. I'm so glad we took time to talk.
thank you. No, actually, on the vegan stuff, I did end on the sugar and processed foods because now it's so interesting how people change their outlook. Like my whole family, I come from a family of meat eaters, right? So people have always been like, oh no, we eat meat in this family. And my aunt and my mom were the first, like when I went vegan, they were like, okay, there's a lot of vegetables, there's a lot of fruit, can only be healthy for weight purposes. So we're going to jump on this bandwagon and just do this once in a while. And they both have said they've seen a difference. But even more
Wow.
interesting, my one that was teasing me about the animals, she is a complete meat eater, has been for years, and actually has always said this whole vegan thing drives her crazy. She came to visit me 2 years ago, and because it was just the two of us, I was cooking just vegan meals, and she said her body has never felt so good. So this time when she came
Wow.
to visit last week, she was all like, okay, I just want you to cook me whatever you eat. And she left with recipes and foods and everything. And she was like, I can actually feel the difference in my body from this. So I thought that was so interesting.
Yes, it really is. It really is, especially when you get to the science of it. It's like, wow, this is really deep. The food can make you into a zombie sometimes. Well, this
True.
has been awesome. So I want to wrap up, and just let's talk about what do you have going on? Do you do workshops? I know you have your book on sale, so I want to talk about that so our readers can, know that information. Are you traveling? Will you be speaking? Online events? What's going on with you?
Yes, so I speak, I'm a financial literacy speaker for one of the top personal finance companies in Africa. It's called Sanlam. So
Wow.
I speak to university students across the country at various varsities. And I am bringing out my e-course, Get Your Money Right. The videos are all done, so just prepping all that. By the 15th, or actually the end of this month, there'll be a site. So I can send you the link for that. And the videos are all
Wow.
done. So everything will be up. So looking to use that to go international. When I was in Trinidad, I was speaking to the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, so hoping to do a lot more work between the Caribbean and South Africa. And that will be more speaking and workshops, but I'm also thinking in terms of getting retreats from South Africa or from various countries, because the Caribbean isn't that far from the US. So it's easier for me to market retreats to the Caribbean. And because I already know the Caribbean, at least various parts of the Caribbean really well, especially Trinidad and Tobago, it's easier for me to set up retreats to there at a later date. But first, the e-course.
Wow, and the e-course sounds so exciting, and the fact that it's online means everybody can be a part of it, which is cool. So that
Yeah.
is awesome. Also, and where can we find your book? What's the website for
Um,
your book?
My book is on Smashwords, but if you go to wealthy-money.com / money, you'll be able to get it. It will take you to the Smashwords website. I'll just email you the link.
Okay. Well, I always end, this is my signature ending for an interview. I ask everybody, give me 3 tips of advice that I can share with our readers and viewers, because sometimes I share these interview videos with people. 3 tips of advice that will help them on their journey to becoming the best they can be.
Okay. First step is really be authentic. Be authentic to yourself. I learned this the very hard way. I always tried to be like everyone else, and when I started just researching emotions and financial behavior and sharing my own journey, that's when I actually experienced a shift in my life, a major shift, and really fast. Practice gratitude. It is the one thing that will totally change your life. And love yourself. Love yourself unconditionally. And by love yourself, I'm not talking about pampering yourself, but love yourself enough to want to change the things you can no longer accept. Because that's what really self-love is. It's loving yourself enough to say, I no longer want to feel these emotions. I no longer want to think this way about the world and about myself. I want to wake up with a sense of serenity.
Wow, that's so awesome. I have to tell, our tagline for the magazine is love life enough to love yourself.
Wow.
Be a natural woman.
Wow.
So,
no, seriously.
Super
I'll send you the link to the blog post for today, which is on self-love. It's a really, really cool thing because I'm on this journey of just self-love because I've seen that that's what it's really all about. If we love ourselves enough, we can be authentic to ourselves because it's all about just loving me for who I am, which makes authenticity that much easier.
That is so true. Oh my goodness. I just finished my editorial for this issue, and that's exactly what I said. Not in those words, but I was, the issue is about holistic relationships, and I broke down like you have a relationship with everything you interact with, but it all boils down to a relationship with yourself. How you treat yourself is how the world is going to respond to you. So, oh, it's such a blessing to talk to you because it's just reinforcing everything. It's awesome. Super awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
It's such a blessing to talk to you too. Thank you.
This is really cool. Well, I'm not going to take too much of your time. This has been an awesome interview. Like I said, I will take the information that we talked about and use this in our women's empowerment issue that comes out next month, towards the middle of the month, around the 15th. I will send you a link to that. And then I store these videos. I have this thing called the Power of 4, where I just chronicleize all of my interviews with people, and so it's like a database of resources that people can always go back to and just like, let me see what they're talking about. And so this video link will be there too, and so people will be able to see, hear about what you're doing more, and connect to your website. I'll make sure I add all your websites and links to the magazine and video. So I'm just so excited you had the time to speak with me. So grateful for the internet because I can talk with people from halfway across the globe.
What? Unbelievable. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, thank you, and you enjoy the rest of your evening or day. I'm not sure what time it is there, but it's afternoon here. 8 p.m. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will be in touch.
Okay, thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye.
You do the same. Bye.
Bye.